They say the truth is quiet until it isn't. This is a story that begins with gunfire at a family gathering, winds through prison walls, and ends for now in the echo of a crawl space and the flash of handcuffs. It's a story about violence, escape, devotion, and the messy human choices that blur the lines between love and complicity. On Mardi Gras Day in 2018, a celebration turned into a nightmare. In New Orleans, gunfire ripped through a block party. Two men, Yamar Robinson and Byron Jackson, were killed. Several others were wounded. The attack would set a chain of events in motion that followed one man across years of courtrooms, headlines, and ultimately a dramatic jailbreak. In October 2024, a jury convicted Derrick Groves of second-degree murder in those killings. He was found guilty on multiple charges tied to the Mardi Gras Day shooting. Groves's name was already heavy with other violence, years of investigations, guilty pleas in related cases, and by 2024, he faced life in prison after those convictions. For many, the community's questions had been answered in court. For others, the sense of safety had eroded. The courts had decided. The sentences had been handed down. Then came May 16, 2025, a night that exposed how fragile a system can be. 10 inmates escaped the Orleans Parish Justice Center. They exploited a lapse in supervision and tampered with a cell door, allegedly breaking into a handicap-accessible cell, cutting through a wall, and slipping past a fence. One of the chilling notes left behind, graffiti that read, "To easy law." The escape was one of the largest and most consequential jailbreaks in Louisiana in recent memory. 9 of the 10 escapees were captured within weeks. But one man, the man convicted of a double murder, remained free for months. He became the focus of a multi-agency manhunt that stretched beyond state lines. Authorities called him dangerous. The public call for his capture grew louder. Alongside the manhunt came questions about inside help. Investigators began to pursue leads into whether outside accomplices or those with proximity to the jail had aided the escape. As the probe deepened, arrests followed. One of the most newsworthy names tied to the investigation was Dariana Burton, reported by prosecutors and multiple outlets as the girlfriend of the escapee and a former employee of the sheriff's office. She was arrested in June 2025 and charged with conspiracy to commit simple escape. A judge set bond at $2.5 million. We must be careful here. Reporting shows Burton was arrested and charged, but public records as of now do not show a trial verdict or final conviction in that escape case. Arrest and charge are not the same as guilt, and a court of law always presents that distinction. From May through October 2025, law enforcement followed tips, video leads, and intelligence across states. The effort included local police, the U.S. Marshals Service, state police, and the FBI, a multi-agency dragnet that left few safe places for a fugitive to hide. Authorities also offered a reward for information leading to the last escapee's capture. On October 8, 2025, that search ended. In Atlanta, law enforcement surrounded a residence where investigators believed the fugitive was hiding after a prolonged operation that included the deployment of gas into the basement and a search of a concealed crawl space. Derrick Groves, the last of the 10, was taken into custody. Video from the scene showed him in shackles being led to a patrol car. In footage released publicly, he appears to blow a kiss toward cameras as he is loaded into a vehicle. Groves waived his right to an extradition hearing in Georgia and expressed a desire to return to Louisiana. Officials say firearms and drugs were recovered at the residence, which has prompted prosecutors to consider upgraded escape charges, aggravated escape, that carry heavier penalties. Groves, already serving a life sentence, is expected to face additional legal consequences stemming from the escape and the people who may have helped him. In the days after the capture, reporting described an intense, methodical search of the house where Groves was found. Boards removed to reveal a hidden crawl space, tear gas deployed, and K9 units used to clear areas before officers recovered him. Authorities said the hiding place appeared deliberately constructed to conceal someone for an extended period. This brings us to the human side of a story often told in hard facts. The woman who was charged for allegedly helping him Public reports identify Dariana Burton, 28 years old, as an alleged accomplice who had worked inside the sheriff's office. Officials have said they were investigating whether she used access or her knowledge to help the escape unfold. She was arrested by U.S. Marshals in June 2025 and held on $2.5 million bond, accused of conspiring in the escape. Again, charged, not convicted. Stories in the days surrounding Groves' capture also included public claims amplified on social media by some local reporting that an argument between Groves and a woman at the Atlanta residence may have played a role in leading to the tip that helped locate him. Neighbors told reporters they heard arguing, and social posts claimed the woman called police after a fight. But it is essential to stress what officials have confirmed. Authorities credited a Crime Stoppers tip with identifying the house that led to the arrest. The link between a neighborhood argument and an intentional tip by the woman in the house has not been independently confirmed by law enforcement in public statements. Treat such accounts as unverified reporting and rumor unless prosecutors or official records later corroborate them. That distinction matters for fairness and accuracy. The rumor mill moves fast, especially in high-profile cases. Neighbors' statements, social media posts, or viral videos are parts of the story's noise. Verified law enforcement statements, court filings, and official charges are the parts of the story we can reliably stand on. As of now, the public record shows Burton was arrested and charged months earlier in connection with the escape investigation. Groves was captured in October 2025 following a tip and a coordinated police action. Investigators recovered contraband in the hideout. Whether a domestic argument directly prompted the tip remains a claim circulating in media, not an established fact from prosecutors. So where does that leave the people involved legally and humanly? First, the man convicted of murder is back in custody, facing not just the original sentences from the 2018 and 2024 cases but now additional escape charges that could add years to his time behind bars. He has publicly waived extradition and will be returned to Louisiana to face those charges. Second, the woman arrested, Dariana Burton, remains someone charged in the escape investigation. Bond was set at $2.5 million, and she has been held and processed as part of the probe. News reports indicate she was one of several people either arrested or investigated for helping escapees. As of the latest reporting, she had not been publicly convicted in a court on those charges. Her case would proceed through the legal system in the ordinary way: arraignment, potential plea discussions, discovery, pretrial motions, and if it reaches that stage, trial. There are larger questions this case forces us to ask. How did 10 inmates manage to escape one facility? What gaps in staffing, maintenance, and surveillance allowed that hole to appear? Local officials acknowledge deep problems in staffing levels and supervision at the facility. The fallout has political implications, calls for accountability, reviews of correctional staffing, and examinations of the systems that failed. Those institutional questions are still being answered in hearings, investigations, and public scrutiny. And then there is the moral and human question. How do we explain a person who chooses to help a convicted killer hide? Motives reported in the press include loyalty, fear, coercion, or opportunism, but motive is a fact-driven piece of evidence that courts and prosecutors must establish, not something we should guess about from headlines. The public record shows an arrest and a charge. Motive, intent, and the full context are matters for legal process, and, if tried for a court to determine, presenting speculation as truth risks doing harm to people whose lives and reputations may still be decided in court. The Groves story is a nod of violence, law, and devotion that refuses to untangle quickly. It's a story about choices, the ones that send people to prison, the ones that set prisoners loose, and the ones that bring fugitives back into the hands of the law. It's about the families of victims who still deserve answers, about corrections systems that must do better, and about a justice system that must navigate both punishment and truth. This is Romance and Blood TV. Like this video, comment and subscribe.